Introduction. Naveen is a PhD holder and a qualified MBA with almost 16 years of experience across various functions in the IT space, IT, finance, sales. He also heads a technical services at Micro Focus for all product portfolios of CDMS, Borland, Novel, and NetQ. So we are eagerly looking forward to this session. What we'll do is, after this, we'll take a tea break and then go on to the next topic. So this is the last session before our tea break.
Respected senior experts in the room, the organizers, and my dear friends, a very good afternoon to all. Usually I don't like to say good afternoon because especially after post-lunch, the responsibility becomes even more to keep the audience awake. And our friend here during my introduction has already said that it's an interesting topic. And now the responsibility is even more to make it very interesting, right? So, to err is human, right? To catch that error, you need a tester, right? And the situation of the tester today, I don't know how many of you will agree, right? This is the case of a tester today. Of course, there would be some, are there any developers in the room? Do we have any developers in the room? Thank God I'm saved. I didn't mean to call them as chickens or anything, but yeah, most of the developers would certainly agree to this. And trust me, most of the post-lunch session I use this slide, it does wake up the audience the way it did now, right? So moving on to the interesting stuff, the agenda. As the topic already says, what are the pitfalls in performance testing, how 7 seconds can save $7 million. Yeah, that was to make people come into the room, $7 million and all of that. But the attempt here is to share the knowledge on the experience what we have from our customers over these many decades, right? There have been developments, evolutions, all of that has been happening, and let's talk about the in thing, what we speak today, that's the online retail, right? So it's getting bigger and becoming more instant. And what are the top 3 mistakes which are generally seen to be committed in the industry when it comes to performance? So this session is only about performance, okay? If there is some question or something which comes up later, we'll look at that. What is the mobile multiplier effect? We'll take a look at that as well. Why we need speed simulations, some of the best practices, one success story, and Q&A, which I'm going to overshoot and see to it that session doesn't happen, right? And I was kidding. You can ask me any questions. Right. Why is performance important? Everyone knows the answers to it, especially performance engineers. Here, the point instant, the term instant is not what the dictionary said anymore. It's changed, it has evolved over these many years. An instant for a guy who's sitting on a desktop and trying to access an application, for him instant is within 10 seconds. And research says that 38% of them log out of that website if it doesn't load in 10 minutes or it doesn't respond in 10 seconds. And it becomes even more complicated when you're talking about a person who's using a mobile app. The statistics say that 78% of them quit if the app does not respond in 5 seconds. So that's the evolution which has been happening in the day, which every one of us have seen, and most of you would agree with what I just showcased as well. So what are the top 3 mistakes which happens in performance? There are many mistakes which happen in performance testing. What are the top 3? Let's take a look at it. The gents would agree that you would not be seeing this mistake in the washroom in the hotel today, right? That's something very unique and different. But anyways, yeah, let's look at that. Bulk testing versus performance testing, okay? You ask this to a performance tester, he's like, when somebody says something who's not a performance tester, he'll say, hello, listen, I'm a performance tester, right? I'm a performance engineer. I'm sure those people would agree with me. Bulk load is like you set up an infrastructure and you see how it's running, right? And performance testing is how the workload performs, our system processes performs over under a particular volume. There's a thin line of difference, but very, very important to learn. That people don't understand, that's the first mistake, right? So they have to put in a lot of simulations, they have to run those simulations under various browsers. Now browsers, different versions of OS, different versions of browsers, and many different browsers themselves. So it becomes key to understand this thin line of difference, right? Mistakes happening in not understanding that. Second mistake, treating all users same. Every individual in this room is a different person. And when you look yourself as a user, you become a different user. There are frustrated users, there's a most patient user who would be ready, would be sitting to book a train ticket for his wife, and he wants to see to that his ticket is booked so that he can have a nice weekend, right? So you have patient users, you have frustrated users, you have different users. So a performance engineering practice will have to put in place those different users. Put yourself in their shoes and see. So prioritizing performance test cases based on the user, and simulate various transactions and isolate slow transaction. Even if it is a frustrated user and you want the response to be high, but it is not there well within 5 seconds or 10 seconds, you have to isolate them and pay more attention there rather than the whole gamut of performance test cases what you have. Third, not associating snapshots to releases. This happens in functional testing very easily, but performance testing is also a space where development people can have a say in order to plug in that performance bottleneck well within you reach performance testing stage, right? That's the kind of change of thought or the innovation which has to be brought in practice, right? I'll go more deeper into the other practice which have to be in place, but do you know why release number 392 is slow? It is not that anymore when we're talking about the definition of the word instant changing altogether, right? So in this mistake, there is no room for change of the code in order to plug that performance loophole. And mobile multiplier effect. This again, the study shows that desktop users, their usage and the numbers are growing 2x. Mobile browsers, they're going 3-4x. But mobile app is going 20-30x. That's the reason some of the e-commerce companies want to shut down their website and want to concentrate only on improving the experience of the end user on their mobile apps. You know whom I'm talking about. Many will just follow with that as well, right? So these are the challenges, the mistakes, what's happening in the industry, what we saw. So what do we do? How do we go about, right? Let's take a look at some simple concepts which I'm sure most of you would agree. Of course, the best practices, accurate user model. As I've already said, put yourself in the shoes of the end user and see to it that you come up with a model which is very much closer to the end reality. You do not end up using a tool, any tool for that matter, Sync Performer, a load runner, or any open source tool, do a weekly report and a monthly report and then put it on your shared folder and then send that link to the developer. It's not that. You have to see to it that user models are really close to the practical world and well utilized. Expose new features first. This goes without saying. I'm sure almost 100% of you would agree. So those features which have been working well over the past many months and have been tested well, yielding results fine, but expose new features first, concentrate there. Merged code test, right? This is more related to, for the benefit of understanding, regression testing is something like this, but when it comes to merged code, you have to see to it that the previous code, the test results are also taken into account when you put in the code for the new feature. Peak period prep tests. Performance testing doesn't start till manual testing is over, till functional testing is over, then only they'll start into performance testing. No. The best practice is there has to be one person or one team who starts 6 months prior, before performance testing comes into the picture. At least he starts preparing the ground so to see to it that there are no failures when it comes to performance engineering later. What do you do? Performance test your application. Yeah, That's what we have been talking about. Of course, everyone understands you cannot get away with native applications. That is, very much a part and parcel of the testing demand these days. Allow testers to execute via HTTP and HTML, have easy to use tools which are not increasing the learning curve, making it much deeper. Record on one device and replay on many so that you increase the productivity, save the time and put it somewhere else where it is more required than just to put a tick in the Excel sheet as to have done this device, this device, this device. You have to record and replay. Just record once, replay many times. You need to use such tools and simulate load, connections, user behavior, which we have already spoken about. Mixed performance loading. So everyone knows that we have ramp up all day and all of that. So our mind has been confined towards those traditional methodologies of running one particular workload, right? Now is the day where, as I said, instant, we have to keep that mind instant when we are thinking about that end user who's going to use the application which you are doing a performance test on. So you will have to take different workloads. The tool has to support that, of course, right? Take different workloads and take different user loads under different workloads. And also, one more thing what you do is put in the mobile performance testing aspect as well, right? Because as we have seen, it's growing 20, 30 times. We have to put in that component as well within a workload. Ramp up all day, queuing, all of that with different workloads, and then mobile as well, which has different platforms covered under that. So mobile web native apps, performance testing of all those mobile platforms is a must. iOS, Windows, Android, not to forget BlackBerry. I think it's making a comeback. Pre-configured mobile browsers, web apps, record mobile devices. The tool has to be such that you need not have to sit and jailbreak. The company didn't hire you from a mobile repair shop and sit and do jailbreaking. You have to do performance testing on mobile apps. So the tool has to support such that you do not need any jailbreaking on those devices. Connection speeds, you cannot afford to miss out on any of those wide telecom spectrums. What we have, it can be GPRS, Edge. Now you have 4G also, which Airtel advertises very well, but my experience is that I've never seen 4G in my Airtel phone though. But yeah, of course, you cannot let go any of those network connection speeds. The tool has to simulate that spectrum within the performance testing, within the performance test case, right? Cloudburst, yeah, it's very much the need that we do a performance testing from the edge of the internet, not sitting here. We also need different. Let's say you already have invested in a particular performance testing tool, but you also want cloud. The tool has to be such that it also supports your current scripts which are there from the license which is there in the data center, and also cloud. Let's say you want 10,000 virtual users to be tested on cloud, 1,000 licenses you already have. So you just need to, the offer should be such that you just need to buy 9,000 virtual users from the cloud, and the rest of 1,000 is already there from your current investment. So budget also is taken care, right? Of course, the reporting coming in from a different geographical location has its own advantage and gives you a very good preparedness in order to face the production scenarios. One of the case studies, as I said, right, of course, our own customers, they had a very bad performance testing. They were using only weekly reports, monthly reports, and so on and so forth. But when we got into it, there was a lot of innovation which together as teams were brought in. It was called as the performance engineering super impact team. Okay. So it enabled the teams to rapidly launch any size workload without too much of investment into infrastructure. That means to say cloud was certainly part of the picture. Wherever it was required, we were able to get it from the cloud. How many were virtual users? Even for a day, we were able to get it from the cloud. So from that helped them to ramp up on the load size from being 30,000 virtual users to, actually right now they are on 1,90,000 virtual users. It shows 135, but last month data said 1,90,000 virtual users over cloud. So that they are very closer to the production scenario. Might not be able to mirror it, but they can be as close as possible to the production scenario. Right. I purposely didn't put this slide in the beginning because I didn't want to come and say as I'm a representative of so-and-so company, but it becomes my duty to say I'm from Micro Focus, and Borland has been acquired by Micro Focus, before which Segway was acquired by Micro Focus. Most of you know that. We believe in being open, and our technologies are very much open. We respect the current investment and the practices which are there, and we provide the value addition. Let me give an example. If there was a speaker, if let's say there is a friend of mine who is going to speak, and he's wearing a formal trousers and shirt, and it's not suiting him. If I tell him to change there, it will be difficult for him to change. If he has to take his shirt off and then change the tie, it will be difficult. Instead, if I give him a blazer that enhances his looks, that would be much appreciated. That's what we do. We do not ask you to rip apart your current investments. We provide value add. That's the way our technologies are. That's why we are proud to say we are agile, we are open. Agile, we live it. We breathe agile because all our products are developed, tested, and launched under agile methodology. Enterprise, we can scale from small SMBs to large-scale enterprises, which can be custom deployments or standard deployments, right, from web apps to ERPs as well. So we believe in our solution of ALM and testing believes in prototyping it, building it, making it work, and also make it perform, right? So last but not the least slide. Simhavalokana is a Sanskrit term, right? It means the backward look of a lion. A lion, when it takes 10 steps, after 10 steps it takes a look backwards, saying, is there something which is going to bother it? Right? Every tester has to be that. And I don't think a tester can afford 10 steps. Maybe they have to look back every one step, right? Everyone has to go with that attitude of being a lion and adopting Simhavalokana in their practices, thereby yielding the success what a lion yields, right? So that's the end of my presentation. I hope you liked it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Open this up for Q&A. Anybody questions?
Unless until the tea is not getting cold.
Yeah,
In one of the slides, you had mentioned as a best practice that we need to start the planning for the performance testing 6 months upfront. But then considering that
6 months upfront, yeah.
Yeah, but then considering the agile scenario, so what would be your recommended best practice?
Yeah, right. So I know what Mir was talking about. Yeah, I can understand that. It's very difficult to hear what the person is asking in the mic. So I can feel it from here. Performance tested. Can't hear it. Yeah. What I was talking about, or rather we say, is that there has to be one person or one team which works on preparing the ground for performance engineering. I say engineering, I use the word engineering, okay, which is little bit advanced than performance testing, when both are blended well when it comes to implementing it in practice. Unless and until you have a platform ready to do your performance testing, and study says 6 months is the time, might sound, when I heard it for the first time, even I thought it is too much, 6 months. But the studies say that there has to be one person or one team who starts preparing the ground for performance engineering. It can be syncing up with the developers. It can be preparing those performance test cases from a previous similar project. If you're doing a project for HDFC and if you have done it for ICICI, not breaking the confidentiality clause, you can use the digital assets to see to it what bottlenecks you can face in this project. I'm just giving an example. It need not be cutthroat. Yes, having said this, I myself have not seen anybody who is doing at 6 months, but it's good to do it, and it can certainly yield results. I hope I answered your question. Yeah.
Hi, I am Meenakshi from Cluster. I just would like to know what all are the default graphs will be pulled out by Borland. So as a performance testing tool, what all are the matrices the tool by default is providing?
Different matrices the tool provides.
Yeah, like CPU utilization, memory leak, and all those type of performance reports, basically.
Okay. Okay. I didn't want to talk about any tool-centric capability, but since you have asked the question, Silk Performer, which is our tool, is the only tool, and I'm sure and I'm proud to say it, it's the only tool which can go closer to performance management as well. What do I mean by this? We have a capability called SAM, Server Analysis Module, that sits on the performance testing tool in order to see to it that what are the memory utilization, the server utilization, the CPU utilization, what is the health of it when the performance testing is happening, right? And apart from the regular performance testing matrix, what it gives, the matrices, what it gives, it can help you drill down to the root cause analysis within itself by using this particular add-on module called SAM. Further to that, our Silk Performer integrates with the leading APM tools which are there in the market. It can be open source or it can be the leading ones coming in from a commercial house. We integrate out of the box. So if you do a load testing and if you want to further drill down than what our tool can do, you can integrate with those tools and then drill down to those SQL statements which are causing problems. If there's a problem in the network, it can be pre-production environment can have network issues, or even for that matter the code and the method level, what it can drill down to. Again, apart from this, we do have something called as .NET Explorer and Java Explorer, which can drill down to the method level and unearth if there is a particular code which causes a performance bottleneck. Of course, it doesn't do as much as a APM tool would do, but yes, it certainly takes you one level ahead without any investments. Yeah, great. I think we are done. We need to go.